These are difficult times at the Bridge, where it's 7 months now since Chelsea managed a home win, and the tension at the club is reflected in tonight's team news. John Hollins drops Joe McLaughlin, whose transfer request was turned down yesterday, and David Speedie, whose instant response some 2 hours before the kick-off was also to talk of a move. Axe 2 is Nigel Spackman. In come Keith Jones, Kevin McAllister and Steve Wicks, who reached the final of this competition last season with Queen's Park Rangers. Top scorer Keith Walwyn successfully tested a damaged foot when York arrived at the ground, so the return of right-back Steve Senior is the only change from the first leg, when Tony Canham struck the goal which gave York their lead at the halfway mark in this intriguing tie. Tonight's referee comes from Sutton Coldfield, it's Maurice Robinson. So Chelsea kick off against the York City side, who've already accounted for second division Sunderland in the Littlewoods Cup. But the buzz here at Stamford Bridge still about who's not playing, with the dropping of Speedie, McLaughlin and Spackman. But John Hollins was cheered by some early news about Pat Nevin, who's been suffering from food poisoning and arrived at the ground not hopeful of playing, but felt better as the late afternoon wore on, and he is out there. Kevin McAllister, who was the last signing of the previous manager here, John Neal. It's a touch from Nevin, and McAllister against Derek Hood. He got the ball away from him. Good support play from Bumstead. And a cross that gives Leaning an early opportunity to show the quality in his handling. John Bumstead at the hub of that Chelsea move. Well, watching with interest in the crowd, you can see David Speedie. Canham, as Bumstead was trying to force a way through. Canham again. Here's Wood. McAllister again sitting wide on the touchline. Dixon calling for the early cross, and it's delivered too. And that's a super save by Andy Leaning. It looked as though it was going to loop over him. His colleagues rushed to congratulate him about it before setting their minds to the corner that has resulted. It was a very sensible cross from McAllister. Dixon got there, and the goalkeeper had to dive backwards as well as across. Wicks miscued. McAllister, Wicks in the way, and it didn't help Chelsea. The home side picking up the tempo. McNaught. Oh! Well, Dixon suddenly getting into the limelight after a quiet start to the match. Twice in a matter of seconds, he's threatened with brave headers. And you're grateful to see that one fly wide. McAllister still really looking to establish himself as a regular here at Chelsea. Nevin, the blue troops are massing in the middle. Stay there because Chelsea have a corner. In fact, they have a free kick for the lateness of the attempted tackle on Nevin. So it's the tall brigade: Rugby, Dixon, Wicks, and Dixon. Well, I'm not sure, as he gets the congratulations, whether there was a shove on him as the ball arrived. It was a strange one, really, but it's the goal that Chelsea have been looking for. And I wonder whether, in fact, if Dixon himself actually got all of the ball. We might see better from this angle. Sprager involved, and it's an own goal, really, for Ricky Sprager, if you're going to be pedantic about it. Nevin. Drags Frazier out of the middle. Rugby's cross. Dixon is there again. And in concentrating on getting his header down, he got really too much on top of that one. And Leaning was able to make the save. Again, Chelsea playing to their strengths, really, by getting their crosses in early. Here's Wood. And Dixon not sure where it had dropped, and that was fortunate for York. Well, at least on aggregate, Chelsea have evened the count. The goal 7 minutes from half-time, caused by the presence of Kerry Dixon, but to my mind, by the head of Ricky Frazier. But York very much still in the tie, and they know that if they were to get an away goal in the second half, Chelsea then would have to get 3 by the end of extra time to win. So at half-time at Stamford Bridge, it's 1-0 on the night, 1-1 on aggregate. Ricky Frazier's own goal may be the piece of luck that Chelsea need in their current predicament. Wicks beaten to it by Banton's flick, guided down by Dixon for Chelsea. Nevin pilfering it away from Steve Senior. Well, I think once you've seen John McNaught once, you'll not forget him. Formidable frame in the Jan Molby style. There's scarcely been a problem at Tony Godden's end so far. Whereas, apart from being beaten by his own player, Andy Leaning pulled off one of the saves of the season so far. And Dixon not troubled by the tightness of the angle. And a player of Kerry Dixon's type must never lose his essential quality, which is an appetite for goals. Not a sophisticated style, but an effective one when Dixon's on his game. McNaught to Jones. On from Bumstead. Here's Rugby. Dixon trying to stay on side. York holding a square back line. Frazier boots it away. Cannon was late, unfortunately made no contact on McAllister. Nevin. Dixon. Lovely goal. That certainly is Dixon's. Chelsea now in front on aggregate. And the decision of John Hollins to have Pat Nevin moved infield from his usual birthright on the right pays off, because it was Nevin's header as a central forward that paved the way for Dixon's goal. So, with 61 minutes gone, thanks to Dixon, it's 2-0 to Chelsea, 2-1 on aggregate. Well, now the third division side do have to take a chance or two. Try to get the likes of Gary Ford into the game. Pates trying to prevent that. Dixon, and on the break it's McNaught, and he's got the speed and strength to get away from Hood, faced by Leaning. McAllister has an open goal, McAllister scores, and Chelsea really are in the driving seat now. York City rather overpowered then by the strength initially of John McNaught. Hood had to come across as the covering defender, and he couldn't stop him. But how about this for presence of mind from McNaught to see where McAllister was and give him the goal. It was a vain chase for Derek Hood. Leaning did what he could to hold McNaught up. The difficulties John Hollins has had so far this season really has been to handle his players now that there is more competition for places. Well, the ones that are out there at the moment are going to make the manager's job a little bit easier for the next few days or so at least, because they've staked their claims. And I'm sure John Hollins will be delighted with the contributions of the likes of McNaught and McAllister. Bumstead, not too far away. But without the security of those 3 goals in the bank, John Bumstead may have thought twice about accepting the responsibility of having a crack. But he threw caution to the wind and was nearly rewarded with a spectacular goal. Jones, laid off by Nevin. McAllister and Dixon! Oh, how did he keep it out? Andy Leaning is not the goalkeeper perhaps many of you will know, but he has made 3 marvellous saves here. Dixon doesn't know why he hasn't got another goal to his tally. But we can tell him it's the agility of Andy Leaning. He really should be called Andy Stretching. Jones with the corner. Rugby, and Leaning claims it again as Pat Nevin was about to pull the trigger. Chelsea 4 minutes away from their place in the 3rd round. Hazard and Bumstead. The ball didn't run for him, he lost his balance and then regained it. And then Chelsea perhaps over-elaborating now. But Pickering and company are being run ragged in the final stages. And they are voicing their disapproval to the referee, Mick Pickering, being called out by Maurice Robinson. Actually, Mick Pickering is one of the most gentle characters off the field. Hazard. Oh, he has embroidered proceedings since his entry. Obstruction on McAllister. And Senior, who's been detailed since the substitution to try and curb the Scottish winger, finding it just as difficult as Hood did. Hazard with the free kick, Rugby with the header, and Leaning grateful that the ball came within reach. It's a very relaxed Chelsea now, and York standing and almost delivering another goal. York's priorities, apart from looking towards perhaps the FA Cup for more heroics in the style of their victory a couple of seasons ago against Arsenal and their stirring contests against Liverpool. Their task is to get out of the 3rd division. And there's enough quality in Dennis Smith's side to have realistic hopes of that. But they might just have provided a turning point for Chelsea. Certainly their supporters will hope that. Butler. And Hood for Mills. With plenty of players forward as we move into injury time. McKenzie with a cross, but it's been an untroubled evening for Tony Godden. It's been a happy evening for Chelsea, in particular for John Hollins. Picking the side tonight was no easy task. He certainly upset some of his senior players, but the team that he's put out have done him proud, particularly Kevin McAllister, who obliged with a goal and an impish performance down Chelsea's right-hand side. Terry Dixon played his part, scoring one, pressurising Sprager into an own goal for the first crucial goal. York City in the end not equal to their task here after performing so splendidly in the first leg. So Chelsea are through to the third round. A 3-0 welcome home victory at last, 3-1 on aggregate.
Yes, welcome indeed. Chelsea hadn't won